Right, hello, hello, hello. I think we are live. Let me just double check. Obviously, if you've got any questions, should we say what's up, Amazon sellers? If you've got any questions, do let me know, and obviously I can answer them. So do drop your questions down below. Give me 2 seconds. See all post formats. I'm just kind of doing something. Um, Trying to update. So, and if you've got any questions, let me know. I'll give you an update on my business where we're at. Quite a few interesting things actually. Have you changed repricer in the US? Had a lot of kind of problems with that, but obviously I'll let you know. And 1 second. I just want to kind of update something here. So add features, and there's something going on. I'm not really too sure what it is. Live video. So guys, if you've got questions, do drop them down below. 1 second. Drop your questions down below. I'm just trying to update something, but it didn't actually work. So if you want to know, I was trying to show you some screenshots. Everyone loves a good screenshot. We've actually really struggled with Amazon USA this week. We've had really good sales actually at the beginning of the week, but the biggest problem we've had is the case that what happened is we changed it to Aurora, reprice it, Go Aurora. So we're just testing SDK we did before we moved over to Go Aurora, trying that out, and just had problems around like setting it up correctly, getting it right, and like sales dropped off a cliff. I think we went from doing like 4 to 5,000 a day to down to like, oh my, maybe not that much, maybe like, yeah, probably 4 to 5,000. What does my stats say? I'll load it up now. Down to like a couple of hundred a day. So we've really got to get that fixed, and I'm not really too sure what's going on there. So yeah, I think if you're going to look at revenue wise, yeah, actually revenue's okay. Yeah, we're doing like probably, let's call it sales. Yeah, 3 to 4,000 a day in sales, whereas like, and then the last couple of days have been 1,100, 800, 700, and then today currently we're on 161, which is like nothing. So obviously very interesting to watch that and seeing what's happened. But we're doing a lot of work on it. And the reason is we're always just trying different things, trying different prices, or trying different areas in our business. Why? Because we want to see if can we improve it, what can be better. But what we also understand is that when we try new stuff, we're going to have problems and it's going to affect. Also, last week, if you want to know, we started the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy. I just want to jump in. SL said, "Hey Tom, looking good. Thank you very much. I've got some grey hairs, guys. If you've got questions, drop them down below. I'm happy. I'm really here to help. So just kind of do this every Monday, support you these times. You can see it here, and obviously kind of help out. So if you want to know, last week we started the Seller Academy, which is really it's my kind of community, my course around serious Amazon sellers. I share everything that I've done, all my frameworks, all the documentation, the processes, the structures, how we run our company, how we hold people accountable, how we get results, and also how we build 2 7-figure businesses, and how I do that in a couple of hours a week, which is really, really important. And what I really like is the fact that we've done 4 support calls: purchasing, admin, sourcery, and then business mastery. And we've got like lots of different sellers, people who've just started, people who are coming in, really like that. I think we're pretty much going to close any minute now, but I do, if you are interested, you can see it on the Fast Track FBA website, so you can see what it's all about and you get loads of stuff with it. But it is like is really helpful, and a lot of people are finding a lot of value in it. So check that out. Let's kind of go through. Hassan, can we do online arbitrage in Germany, and what tools should we use for finding arbitrage deals? I'd probably recommend fasttrackfba.com/SaaS. You can actually do all my tools here. So fasttrackfba.com/tools. Check out these tools. I'll just drop it down here. That link there, fasttrackfba.com/tools. And the reason why I say that is you can access SellerAmp SaaS. I really like. It'll work in Germany as well. I think it's like that's just going to be helpful. So I think that'll be very useful. And that's going to just help you kind of like do it all. So guess also, Hassan, let me know how you're getting on. Like, I'm interested in Germany. I've been talking to a lot of people, and I think like it's going to be a really good marketplace. So I'm very interested in it. Obviously, we hit 7 figures in the UK. Can we do 7 figures again in Germany? Maybe. I don't know. Money's the big problem. So we'll see how it goes. We make enough, but more stress. See how it goes. So, can we do online arbitrage in Germany, and what tools are used for finding arbitrage deals? Seller Amp SaaS, I'd really recommend that. So Hassan, let me know. Let me know if that helps you. Give you a thumbs up. Let's jump through Josh. Is it best to stay away from listings who have Amazon on it? Josh, I'd really recommend look at my Fast Track FA YouTube channel and look at Keeper. I think it's Keeper Advanced, not Keeper Expert. There's like a basic, advanced, and expert one. I've done a lot of videos around like how to read Keeper for Amazon, so if Amazon is the listing. That's going to help you as well. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of the simple reason that I can't tell you the answer. 9 times out of 10 we'll stay away from Amazon, but if the keeper chart looks good and we can see Amazon is sharing, then yeah, we'll get involved, but we'll test it. And I think that's the most important point. So I think for you, when you're looking at it, that's something that you really want to be doing. So that Fast Track FBA YouTube channel, look at Playlist Keeper, and then look at the ones where it's like Keeper sharing. That's going to help you out. That's the advanced version. We have sold with Amazon before. Sometimes we sell higher than Amazon. They let us have the buy box. Just be mindful of that so you can do it. Let's go through. What is your monthly ROI? Changes. I think in the UK, we probably recommend about just shy of 20. So we do about 20% ROI. I think 17 sometimes will go down to low as. Purchasing wise, we try and do about 20% ROI. US is higher than that. I'm just going to have a quick look, see if I can see. But you've got to remember, like, we do 3.5 million a year. So if you're doing like 10,000 a month, which is 100,000 a year, roughly 120,000, I'd expect you to probably have a bit of a higher ROI. But for me, can I do? Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, like right now we're doing an 18% ROI month to date, 17 months in. So it's not huge, but it's not horrendous. But obviously the volume that I'm probably going to do might be a lot higher than what you're getting. And what you generally tend to find is the higher the revenue you do, the lower your ROI. Why? Because you can get high ROI items, but they take a lot of time and you can probably buy a couple of them, whereas we have a lot of money. If I give an example, let's just do some simple math. If I had £10,000 or $10,000 and I wanted and I could get 30% ROI, or should we say, if I could only spend $10,000 at 30% ROI, that's $3,000, fantastic. But what if there were no more 30% ROI products I could find? Well, what if I were, let's say, for example, getting 20% ROI, but now I had $100,000? Well, 20% of $100,000 is now $20,000 net, or should we say profit, gross profit. So what I've done is I've decreased my ROI, but I've increased my spend, and the net result is I get more physical cash. And what we care about is cash in the bank. So it's a really good question, like monthly ROI, but also just mindful it's very relevant to spend and like revenues. So that's something really important to think about. Let's kind of jump through. Obviously, if anyone is interested in my tools, you can see all the tools I'm recommending. Drop down there. Really, really good. So we've got Dan here. Hey, Dan. So what's happening with the reprices recently? I've heard there's been issues with the API. Dan, you're right. You're really right. Aurora did a really good post on it, actually. They said there were big issues around basically, if you don't know, behind the scenes for the last however 10 years or whatever, Amazon's had what known as the Amazon MWS API, which is API is the application interface, and it's the way computers talk to each other. So that's how reprices have been working through the API. Now, recently, Amazon's changed over to the new connection, which is not the old MWS API. It's now called the SP API, Seller Partner API. And with it, it's a whole new set of kind of ways to communicate. Think of it as like, this is the landline telephone, this is the mobile phone, slightly different. But it's had a lot of changes and it's also had some bugs. And as a result, there's been a lot of problems around one of the things repricers have to do is they get a report from Amazon, which is called something like the buy box, like listing change. So when they're tracking a listing, Amazon will tell them that we've now changed the buy box on that listing. So the owner of the buy box. And what the repricer does is once it gets that message back from Amazon, it will then change your price depending on whether you own the buy box or you don't, or if you did own it and now you don't, it will change your price so to compete you with it. And long story short is that message system coming back from Amazon hasn't been working as expected, and as a result the repricers haven't been able to update. In addition to that, they've had massive delays, i.e. like if you look at what's known as like the message queue system, Amazon's, I think it's been taking a lot of time to get the message from the repricer, or the repricer has been sending, and then action it. There's been backlogs, masses of that. This is all like computer talk, so it takes a while. It's like seconds we're talking here, but in the grand scheme of things, it really stacks up, and as a result, repricers haven't been working as well as expected. So that's been a problem. Aurora's talked about it, but what I do understand right now is that as of right now, it should all be resolved. So your repricer should be back to normal. There should be no issues around like the buy box rotation, who's got the buy box, and the repricer detecting that, and also how long it takes the repricer to send back to send back to Amazon to get that updated on Amazon. So should all be fine. If you do have problems, obviously speak to your repricer. Like we're still using SDK in the UK, and we're just testing out Aurora in the US, seeing how that goes. Right now, it's not really as good. My team have got to call them today because we went from $4,000 a day sales down to probably like $1,000 a day sales. And again, it's kind of like we're not too sure. Like we're going to learn. So we'll see how it goes. Let's kind of go. So David, Dan, if that answers your question, let me know. Give them good thumbs up. Coffee. I love coffee. I don't know if I can show you. Dan, if I'm just going to show you like also our problems, I'll see if I can get you a picture. I think my ops manager, if I can share it with you. 2 seconds. Bing, bang, bosh. Oh no, 1 second. I will get it up because I know where they are. They're in a different channel in my internal chat. Unwrite that. So internal. God, I have too many channels. Ask Amazon. Here we go. Yeah, and if you want to see, so this is my sales to date. You can see like USA, and you can probably just see it down here on this side. Like they're a bit grey. There you go. If I kind of go across, you can see like it just dropped, like literally dropped off a cliff in the last 3 days. That's the result of like just a repricer. So, but don't get me wrong, like we've always had these problems. Whenever you change repricers, things go like, you've got to accept it. But we're just testing. Let's kind of go through. David, hey Tom, I hope you're well. Currently finding good deals, but having issues with ordering a stock. Any tips to issue this? Yeah, basic level. If they don't want to give you enough stock, go find somewhere that will do it. Like in the UK, if you're going to buy in boots, like good luck. If it's really you're going to get orders and they're going to get cancelled, it'll be a nightmare. Number 2 is the fact that create separate accounts. Top tip for you is like if you know the Gmail trick, so like tom@gmail.com, you could do tom+1@gmail.com, same email address, but it'll be the same email account, but you can use you can create unlimited email addresses that way. Anything after the plus is just not included. So email yourself tom+1@gmail.com, and you'll come into tom@gmail.com's inbox. So you could do that. Also, if you are going to do that, tweak, use a different payment card, tweak the address slightly, because they'll detect it. There's too many similarities. Also, try and use a VPN, change your IP address. That'd be another kind of thing. You're just trying to make it look like you're a different customer. They will have systems where detect repeat orders. Spread out your orders. Don't keep banging it off. Like do it like 1 or 2 in the morning, 1, 2 in the afternoon, 1, 2 in the evening. You just could do it. But that's the thing. Like the very nature of you being able to buy more stock is obviously what we're all after. So if you can make it work, fantastic. So David, I hope that makes sense. But really about creating accounts, trying to order. Last thing, you might just give them a call. Hey, I want to order more of this. Can I do it? See what they say. They might be like very anti-reseller, or they might put you through a department whereby you can buy in wholesale. We've had that before. Nick, hey Nick, how to calculate ROI? I'm using a product source right now. Best site source USA. Best site source USA. Arbitrage. Fast Track FB YouTube channel. Top 100 suppliers, and find the USA one. We'll tell you that. Also as well, calculate ROI. Look, I generally think there's only really one way to calculate ROI, but some people say it's other ways. If you're going to ask me, it's net cost of goods. So like if you're in the UK, take off the VAT if you're VAT registered, or like how much you're paying for the cost of goods divided by the profit you're going to generate. So like, let's say for example, I buy something for $5 today or £5 after taxes. Take the taxes off, or like obviously if you can reclaim the taxes. So if you're doing like sales tax and you can claim the sales tax back, fantastic. If you can't, then you've got to include it because it's a cost of goods. Then in the UK, you can claim back VAT. It's quite simple. It's a bit different in the US with sales tax. And then obviously if I'm going to sell it for like 15, but I'm going to make, let's call it $10 profit. I know, not great. Also $5 profit. Then what I do is like £5 or $5 divided cost of goods divided by $5 profit equals 1, which is 100%. So 100% ROI. So that'd be how I do the ROI. That's it. Some people do it some other ways. I don't believe in including like prep fees. They're not part of the cost of goods. They're just a fee that you do it. I.e., like if you don't sell the product, you don't pay the goods. If you don't buy the product, you don't do it. I don't including like referral fees, all that kind of stuff. It's literally cost of goods divided by the net profit you're going to generate. That's it. So let's go through. Sonia, hi Tom, I've had some items from North Face. Wondering if you have any IP complaints. Top of my head, no, I don't think we sell them. Number 2, Fast Track FBA brand checker. We do keep a list of them there. I think that'd be really important. So yeah, let's check that out. I think that'll really help you out. let's kind of go through. Phil, hey Phil, hi Tom. I'm thinking of getting a sourcing VA in the next couple of months. Is there any guidance on what sort of revenue profit they should generate once fully trained? Yeah, if you're interested, we have it down here, Fast Track FBA, fasttrackfba.com/VA. This is our VA service. You pay a one-time fee and we do it all for you, and then also we support you for 12 weeks, and also we check them versus how they should be performing. And if you talk about specific revenue and profitability, the metrics we use within the VA Academy, and by the way, we've done like 600 VAs right now in our whole community. You even have a weekly drop-in call whereby you can ask questions and we really help you build out your team and really get it great. Like, I won't lie, I'll tell you a really funny story just on a side note. A friend of mine contacted me to say, I hired a VA who used to work for me in my business. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Do you know them? And I messaged them and was like, yeah, unfortunately, we had to let them go. They were working for another client. It does happen. This is really common. And then he said, oh, damn. Like, she said, you just had to let her go because of changes in Amazon. I was like, no, that wasn't the point. And then, what's it called? He spoke to another friend and found out that she was working for him as well. Turns out she was working for 3 customers at the same time as him, let her go. The other guy messaged me as well and said, hey, Tom, your friend messaged me to say that your old VA was working for us. We thought there's another problem. Like, lots and lots of VAs work for different clients. It's an absolute nightmare. And what they're doing, they're just giving you the deals. And what was really interesting was that my friend who spoke to me originally, he got 3 deals that day from that VA. And what was really interesting was they were actually the deals that the other client shared to her to like check to do something. So she was just taking deals from one client, giving them to him, and he was like, oh my God. And this is something we really try and stop within our business. I.e., we're looking for, like, when we hire someone, do they have a history of like working for a long time? Do they have a history, if they have worked for multiple jobs, we probably don't want to hire them. Do we believe that they're going to be looking, is money their primary focus, or they're looking for job security in a good working environment? Money means they'll probably go after it. Job security means they'll probably stay with just one client. All these things make a really big difference, and it's something really, really interesting. So be very mindful of that, and we're really good at it down here. So fasttrackfba.com/VA. But coming back to your specific question is, what type of guidance? Sorry, 2 seconds. I'll just make a quick note. So just talk about guidance. So what do we look for is guidance on deals. So month 1, we talk 2 to 5 deals per day that you're going to buy. So really, it's what you're going to buy, not that they've given to you. Like, if they give you 20 deals, you can't buy a single one of them, or you wouldn't. It doesn't matter. Even if it's a great deal, but it's out of stock, it doesn't matter. The out of stock point's really important. You have to be able to buy them. And then, so that's month 1, 2 to 5 deals per day. Month 2, we go to 5 to 8 deals per day that you're going to buy on average. So, some days you have higher, some days you have lower. Then month 3 is 1 second, and then month 3 we say 8 to 12, but really we're actually saying you should move over to a spend target. 1,000, you're saying you should be £1,333 or £1,500 spend per week on the deals, and then also you do that at 30% ROI, and that covers you, and it makes you roughly about £1,600, $1,800 net profit per month after the cost of their fees and their labor. And that's at the end of month 3. So first 2 months as deals, and then the third month is going to be spend. That's what we're looking to do. And 1 second, MJ video on source and sheet. Fine, cool. So I hope that makes sense, Phil. Let me know down below if there's a question around that. But I think that's a good point. And by the way, that's like during the first 3 months. And the reason why I say that is because that's really important. You're building them up. But if I put it in perspective, like when we, I can actually tell you the stats. Stay there. Let me tell you. So if I talk about some of my team for last week, and let me just load it up. And by the way, if we talk about spend, I say per week $1,500, for example. So if I kind of give you some like £1,200 spend, if I kind of give you some ideas around like what we're achieving, you're kind of the higher end where you've got like sources doing. They've been with us for a long time. If we're kind of like looking last week, I'm just going to kind of have a quick look through, kind of skim, like we've got figures here like 3,000, I think it is like 3,500 in the UK. Yeah, I've got one who did 6,000 2 weeks ago, like really high. I've got one here 4,000. Some of them are a lot lower, like down to the 1,000 mark. They've probably had a hard week, and that's in the UK. In the US, if I just talk you through some numbers, what have we got? One last week in the US did 5,000 spend, 2,700, 4,000, 2,000. What else? We got 3,000. One did 185, not doing a very good job. 3,000, 2,600, and 666. So it kind of gives you an idea of like what kind of numbers we're getting on spend, and that's in just 1 week. We don't really track the number of deals; we track spend. That's the important point. So it's going to go through. Phil, are you able to give a rough idea of the cost of the academy? Oh, US is about, I think it's about 850. UK is about £600. Have a look down below. You can also book a call with my team, fasttrackfa.com/VA. You can also book a call with my team and have any questions you've got answered. That's going to be really, really helpful. So we can answer all the questions down there. Trust me, it's a really good service. We've got 300 people who've used the service to hire over 600 VAs. And if you do the really simple math, I'm just going to get you to the math. So that means that if you average it out, each customer has bought 2 VAs from us. Well, I'd like to think that if we do a good service, you'd probably come back. And I'd like to think if we did a bad service, you wouldn't. So when you think about like everyone has come back twice, and by the way, that isn't really right because some people have only bought their first one. Some people have come back way more than once or twice. You can see that the service really works. So it's really good. Like, trust me. And if like some people like, I want to do it myself, and I can really understand that. But I'd really recommend if you are going to do it yourself, just get your first VA through us. Why? We give you so much support. We give you courses, everything you need to know about managing it, drop-in sessions. You've got access to that. If you have never hired someone before, this is a minefield. But you can learn from my team and how we operate. And obviously, there's a reason why I run 2 7-figure Amazon businesses and Fast Track FBA and travel the world. And I don't say it to brag. I say it because we know what we're doing. And we help so many people doing this. So like, I get it, we want to save money, but sometimes it's like just pay for other people's advice and experience. Like, it's just not worth it. You're going to lose more money dealing with bad VAs and problems than you would have spent on me. Like, trust me, fasttrackfba.com/VA. I cannot stress that enough. And when people come to me like, oh my God, my VA is sharing deals, why did I do it on my own? I was like, exactly. So sorry, let's jump on. Right, I've been doing FBA for 6 months. Struggling to find a decent product, either don't get the buy box due to other sellers having higher ratings or experience, or they lower the price really, really low. Any ideas? It does happen, unfortunately. It is the nature of it. I don't know what's going on here. It does happen. I just think you've got to keep doing it. I think, look, if you're going to ask me, the kind of top tip I'll share for you is if you're going for the same types of, let's say, for example, I'm the other seller. Well, look, you know, if you've got like $5,000 or £5,000 and I've got like £500,000, I can afford to like cut my margins a lot more because while I make less percentage profit, physical cash in the bank is going to be a lot more. And I think for you, the question comes is that what you really want to think about is should we say, trying not to do what all the bigger players are doing. If you're finding people with higher ratings, try and go outside of that. So what do I mean? What specific advice can I give you? Well, if you're just getting started and you haven't got a high budget, try looking outside the normal things. Like, you know, people talk about 30% ROI, £3 profit in the UK, or dollars profit and 5 sales a month. Why not look at things doing like 3 sales a month? You know, I'm not saying like you're going to go super deep on them, but you might have a really wide range of stock and have 1 and 2 of each. That way, but each one is going to be 40-50% ROI, and there's not going to be many sellers on the listing. Like, my team will not buy stock or SKUs or ASINs whereby it's selling 3-4 per month or even 5 per month. Generally, the slower the sale, it's not going to happen. So start looking for those niches. Also, as well, everyone asks you like, what category should I sell in? I'll tell you what, listen to what everyone's saying, do the opposite. If you want to change your business, if you want to get a different result, you've got to change some things. So like, really look at that. The other thing which I'd probably say is, I'm not saying like, it sounds like you're struggling, but if anyone else is in a similar situation, but maybe not so struggling, but trying to level up, the ultimate sourcing sheet we offer is a really good tool. Why? Because it does analytics on what you're purchasing and what's working within your business. So when you talk about like, I'm struggling, I'm not making sales, these things, the ultimate sourcing sheet will kind of analyze like, products from this supplier are working really well for you, products this supplier are not. Products from like this category are working well for you, products in this category are not. Like, it's just going to tell you what you should probably know, or that it's going to collect all the information about your sales and your purchases together and give you the insights into them to say, this is what you should be doing. And it does it automatically as you go through. So it's so useful. The ultimate sourcing sheet, and fasttrackfba.com/USS, or you can just go to the website and see it. It really helps out, and I think that's a good thing. But I think for you, is coming back to your specific question, keep sourcing, keep trying, try different stuff, maybe higher ranking products, maybe things with lower sales, get out in the normal categories. Go to like, I don't know, DIY, go to like automotive. Like there will be products you can sell, but less people are going to be having it, and I think that's going to be an opportunity. Like the game is changing. It's our job to adapt or die. That's it. So I hate to say it, but like, I even have to adapt or die. So do my team. That's the whole point. Let's go and jump through. SL, can I give my admin VA a sub account so they can log into Amazon to add products and do ungating for me? Yeah, they can. Yeah. Like, by the way, let's be very, very crystal clear. You should never, ever, ever give anyone, including a VA, your primary login details. If you do that, I promise you will get detected and probably shut down pretty quickly. I've had Amazon challenge me once on it because I moved around the world so much. Like I think in like 1 week I was in 5 different countries, but it was fine. But you have what's known as, when you go into Amazon Seller Central, top right-hand corner, little cog item, click on secondary users. You can add your admin VAs in there. Absolutely fine, add them in. And by the way, you said, will it cause problems if they work for other clients and their clients get banned from Amazon? Number one, I'm going to tell you now, really try do not hire VAs who work for other clients. Why? Because they can share your information. If you work in the arbitrage space, your deals are your money. It's literally they're sharing your money. That's it. So, if I said I've got a great deal right now, you can buy this phone for £10 and sell it for £100, you'd be like, well, hey, I love it. But what if I just, and it's selling 100 a month, you'd love me even more. But what if I just told you I shared it with 1 million people who are all going to buy it? Like that deal would crash. So you wouldn't be happy. So don't share your deals and be careful with your VAs working for other people. But by the way, like if I give you another analogy, you can create sub accounts, which are called secondary user accounts for prep centers. Now, prep centers will have hundreds of users, which is absolutely fine. So they're going to be one email address across multiple accounts, 100 different main accounts. That as a sub user doesn't cause a problem. I have now many VAs across multiple accounts. I think 3. They're generally across 3 of my Amazon accounts. I have 4, but they're across 3 of the accounts. No problems at all. Amazon not come back, and obviously we've had lots of I think we get emails from Amazon like 3 or 4 times a day about like IP complaint or something. So don't worry, absolutely fine. But yeah, secondary user accounts, that's what you need. Do not give them your primary login details. Michael, how many deals do you require for your VA daily? I think I talked about that. I'll do a summary. UK, what we do daily that we buy is important. 2 to 5, month 1, month 2, 5 to 8, month 3, spend. US 1,500, UK 1,333. If you want to know why those numbers, those calculations, let me know in the comments down below and I'll explain it to you. Hope that makes sense. Let's go through. Thanks, Tom, for the API info. What made you look at moving away from STK repricer? I think the question came is, we just wanted to try something different. I always like to mix things up. Lots of people have talked highly about Go Aurora. And also as well, like Norm's really good. I love him. I've done interviews with him. I think he's great. But when we've seen problems, we've asked questions, and I think there's been a bit of a slow delay. So I just said to the team, like, if you want to try something new, you can. And they were asking. I was like, yeah, do it, not a problem. So hopefully you understand, like, I have nothing against it. We're still doing it in the UK. Absolutely love it. But I'm also just seeing, is there another option out there? Do it. I'm a big believer in trying things, like, see what works for your business. At the end of the day, I'm an Amazon business owner. I like, I want to make money from it. And if SDK is great and I try another one and it's bad, then cool, we'll go back. But at least we know. And I've done it before with other repricers, but we're still just figuring it out. So that kind of helps out. Hope that makes sense. Gigs, how are you taking profits in USA company? I'll be honest, right now I'm not. I have no need to take profits. But if you want to know the way we're kind of structured, or like the way, like if I wanted to, I could just pay myself a salary, absolutely fine. Like I could pay a salary, I could pay a dividend out on the company. I would obviously have to declare that to the tax authority and pay the relevant taxes on that. But taking a salary or a dividend is absolutely fine. Like there are 2 options I can do. Long story short, and the general way most people do it is they will make a company, like you're probably asking it because I'm a remote national, I'm not an American national, is that obviously I started my USA company by funding it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make a profit within the company, and then as the company makes profit, I'll start taking out my money. So the deposit. So I'm not paying myself. Why? Because paying myself has income tax implications. Whereas if I just start taking out my investment, that has no income tax calculation. So I can take the money back. So that's what I'm doing. So I do take that out, and I'm not paying myself in the company at the moment. So that makes sense. Nick, what are your considerations for a good BSR? Anything that makes money. That's it. Competition. It was fun. Generally do UK under 100,000, US 250,000. That's it. Let's kind of jump through. Hey Tom, do you use Sellerboard, SDK, or any store management software? We actually use both of them. Sellerboard. We also use Seller Legend as well. So to give you an idea, we use SDK primarily. That's our key one. So we do the repricing of that. We also use Sellerboard because we're testing it. We're testing the variance between SDK and Sellerboard, and we're trying to understand why. We also use Seller Legend because, again, we're testing the variance between SDK and Seller Legend. We're trying to understand why. And it's not to say one is right or the other. What we identify is they deal with different Amazon things in different ways. SDK, and I think it's a really great bit of software, but let's just be crystal clear. You've got some dials up the top right. Those dials are really the one you're looking at as the profit. That is the profit from your product sales only. But what it doesn't include is FBA shipping fees. It doesn't include storage fees. It doesn't include, should we say, shipping to Amazon fees, so FBA shipping fees. That's what I mean. It doesn't include, your Amazon subscription payment, £30 per month. All these little things add up. We spend over $1,000 a month on holding stock and Amazon storage fees. Now, while that number is really nice to see, let's call it £1,000 a day, fantastic. Well, actually, I don't get to take that home. It's very misleading. So if I'm having really high storage costs, I shouldn't be looking at that number because I need to be looking at another number. And really, the number I should be looking at is the one down here, which is called total profit after fees. And you'll see another little box over on the right hand side, which tells you what all those fees are, like storage stuff. So really, it's the number down here I should be looking at, which is why it's a bit misleading when you see that. Now, also as well, there's different way they handle around returns and the inventory around that. So I think SDK adds it back into stock and it doesn't count it, whereas Seller Legend and Seller Board count when you do a customer return. Seller Legend, Seller Board, as far as I'm aware, don't quote me, they count it as a loss until the stock turns back up in Amazon. Why? Because we know that customers are awful at returning stock. That's the very nature of it. So what I tend to find is that SDK might give me a higher profit figure than what I might get from the other one. So I'm just wanting to see that. For what, an extra £30 a month is nothing. By the way, if you are interested in any of these, fasttrackfba.com/tools, you can obviously access them as well and get my affiliate links. You get money off and use more stuff. So hope that makes sense. Let's go through Yuri. Hello, how can I make sure how many sales does a product sell in a month? Majority based on estimates. Is there a way to check? If you don't own the product, i.e. you're not selling it, you'll never know the actual numbers. Everything is an estimate, you're right. The only way you're going to know is by listing the product and having the product in and being on the buy box. And then you can go to Amazon. So basically test the product, buy a couple, ship it in, test it. Now, go to Amazon Seller Central, go into, I think it's reports, business reports, go to daily or sales by ASIN, and then you want to go to daily sales by child ASIN, kind of down. And then the concept comes is that what you want to look at is you set the date range, and then it will tell you how many, ideally you need to have sales, not 1 or 2, but at least 10 sales. So over that date range, you should have at least 10 sales, and it will tell you what the buy box percentage is, and you've got 10 sales. And then because you know what your buy box percentage on that SKU is or that ASIN and how many sales you make, you can extrapolate it for how many you've done. So say, for example, I made 10 sales and at 10% buy box, I could guess over that date period, call it 1 month, it's doing 100 sales because I made 10 sales with 10% of the buy box. So if I had 100% of the buy box, it'd be stand to reason I make 100% of the sales. Hope that makes sense. But that's the only way you can know for sure. And basically I know for sure because it's kind of right. But the reason is Amazon doesn't share this data. They are not interested in sharing it. But you have to test. So I hope that makes sense. Guys, if you've got questions, drop it down below. I'm just going to drink some coffee. And sorry, my girlfriend's on a call in the background, so you can probably hear some Spanish going on. Because obviously, if you don't know, I live in Mexico. Right, what revenue profit threshold would you recommend to be safe and to make a VA hire? Good question. So really good question about if you're looking to make a VA hire. Look, long story short, I think you should be profitable. Number 2, you should know what you're doing. Why? Because if you don't know what you're doing, as much as we're good, you still need to direct your VA about how you run your business and what you do. If your VA doesn't know how to source or what to do, and you don't know how to source, then you've got a big problem. So the only other answer is you pay for someone who knows what they're doing. And by the way, if someone knows what they're doing, they're going to charge you a lot more than what you're going to pay for a VA from me, way more than $3 an hour. They'll be charging you $10, $20 an hour. be mindful of that, because it's kind of like you're wanting to pay for me. You're like, hey Tom, can you come work in my business? Sure, I'll charge you a lot of money. I don't know, $500 an hour. I don't know, maybe. That's how much I charge for coaching. Yeah, fine. So when we talk about profit wise, so number one, you should be profitable. Number two, you should know what you're doing. Number three, I reckon if you're in the US, you need to have probably $5,000 spare cash. That could be cash and credit cards, or in the UK, £4,000. Ideally up to about 10. And you should at least have 1 hour free per day to spend with your VA to give them coaching support and feedback to improve them. Again, they remember your staff, they're going to need support. That's super important. So do spend that quality time with them. Do make sure that they know what they're doing, and that's the important one. So profitable, know what you're doing, £4,000, $5,000, and 1 hour a day. They're the kind of metrics I would think about that allow me to think like right now is a good time to hire, or where do I need to be before I make that decision. I hope that makes sense. Mota, that's right. Hey, the best way to track inventory. To do what? The best way. Sometimes I send quantity under the feed, but more than what I sent. How do I do that? So then, just to track inventory, we just kind of use Amazon, so essential, fine. To send time, you send the quantity in, but they receive more. They throw more, fantastic. You don't have to do anything because they receive less. You just generally raise a reconciliation case or raise an investigation into it, and then send them the invoices of the products you purchased, and they'll normally give you the money back. Hope that makes sense. Really simple. Jennifer, hey Jennifer, if I want to do OA in both Amazon USA and UK, will you recommend to do it under two separate accounts, one registered UK, one registered US? Doesn't matter. You can do them both under one account. My advice would probably be, number one, make sure you've got enough money, because OA is classically labor intensive and money intensive. But number two is the fact that I probably recommended doing it under, and it doesn't really matter about it isn't about the Amazon seller accounts. It's about the underlying company. She's a limited corporation. Why? I know from speaking to people, if you are a UK company and you try to buy stuff online in America, most of the American websites will just cancel your order, or you wouldn't be able to do it. Why? Because they don't have the option for payment cards with billing addresses outside the US. That's your problem. So if you can, like, the reason why we have a company in the UK, my UK business, is because we're a UK company. They like it. And the reason why we have a USA business, USA company in the USA, is because we're a USA business. And so when we buy within the US, it's simple. When you start adding complexity, people cancel orders like, oh, you're outside the US, we're not interested. Sorry, no, we just don't deal with it. We've had too many fraud cases. That's what I don't want. So I'd really recommend to do to really have them as like two separate companies. This is not about seller accounts. Obviously, you have two separate companies with two separate seller accounts. But I really recommend do the underlying company. Not for Amazon. Amazon don't really care. It's about where you're buying from for OA. They care because it's about the registered address and who they're dealing with. SL, hey Tom, what's the tips for repricing? Do you normally match or try to win the buy box? What about inbound items? Do you start repricing or eventually checked in? Sometimes you need one unit checked in. So long story short, repricing, we generally try to match the buy box within our mins and maxes. We're not looking at trying to crash the price. We don't need to, we have to clear it down. Inbound items, like literally put them high. Like if you've got inbound items coming in, don't reprice. My God, like you're trying to compete versus a buy box that you can't even really sell on yet. So if it's inbound, don't bother. Put it high, wait until it's actually checked in and it's live. And then finally, if one unit's checked in, cool, you can start making sales. But we only do it with live stock, not inbound. And the reason is because Amazon lets you reprice, but like the customer doesn't want to wait 4 days for a prime shipment because it's got to get checked in. They want to make sure that it's actually, should we say, they can get it tomorrow. So why crash the price on the listing or even compete against it when there's no need to? So that makes sense. Reprice will start replacing even though delivery is 1 week later. Yeah, like literally just put it high. Don't reprice when you're shipping in. I really understand what you're saying. How much do you charge for Amazon on a VA? How much do you charge? How much a VA charge for online arbitrage? So we charge 850 US or £600. And that will get you a VA to work in your business for they're your VA. They're not an ongoing fee; it's a one-time fee, and they're a really good service, like really good service. We find, hire, and train a VA for you. They start working in business, and we'll support you for 12 weeks to level up that VA, and that's going to be really helpful for you. So just be mindful that's going to be helpful for you, and I think that'll be really good. But it's a great value, honestly, really great value. Let's kind of jump through. What do we got? So cool. They're pretty much all your questions, guys. If you've got any more questions, drop them down below. I'll give you an update on my business. So I did talk about what have we got here. So I did talk about the business in regards to the US, and obviously, if you don't know, that's my US sales chart. By the way, the reason why it doesn't look on the thing is because I don't have the app installed. I get my team to do it. You can see right here, we changed the price that it's really caused problems. So that's a real shame. And the UK, oh my god, the UK actually is doing like not great. I'm not gonna lie. Like we've been struggling to spend. Right now we're okay to spend. In the past, we haven't. Look, I'm down to a six figures, 164,000. Steady, but we're 35% down. So big problems there, but we need to fix that. But I will show you, like, you can see UK year to date, 3.4 million. We've just been down, like declining. You can see that kind of like going down. But the reason why this is really important is because we've restructured our team, we've managed our sourcing DAs, we've focused on how we're doing our sourcing. And I do believe we're going to pick it up for Q4. It's going to take a little while, but I think last week the team did quite a good job. Can I see the purchasing manager overall? What do we do? Yeah, we spent a lot of money, like a lot of money, but I'm very interested in seeing how that goes. And then USA, if you're interested in overall, like we had October's okay, but we are tracking a bit down on trend. Hey, you have growth, so 1.6 million, 1.1 million, and you can see there, like we kind of come up, and then it's going to come down again down this side. You can see it's kind of again really popping down. So we're about over halfway through the month, and we'll probably end on like maybe 100K if we're lucky. But again, we've like restructured our sourcing teams. We're looking at how we're doing analysis, and also though, I will just add, the last 3 days in the US have been like shocking for sales. Why? The pricing side. That's something really important to think about. So, what I would say is um, it's never like a straight line. Amazon is a straight line, but you are looking for consistency in trends. That's a really important point. So when we look at this, it's like we go up and then we kind of come down a bit and then we go back up again. It's never a straight line. Just be mindful of that. So we've got some more questions coming in. Hi, Tom. Do you spend your full capital available in November, or do you keep a percentage? It's the last minute deals. I have a high risk tolerance, and this is make or break. This is my make or break for Q4. Like, let me put it this way, like if I could spend all the money today, I would. Like I'm literally like, please spend all the money. Like I get your point about last minute deals, but there's a saying called like a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. Like I'd rather have a deal purchased today that I know will sell and make money rather than waiting for a deal that I don't know will come. So I would like, if I had like, by the way, obviously we'll keep enough money back to like pay the bills, of course. But what I do recommend for you is like always make sure that you've got your like, your last minute deals, or should you say your deals like I would spend as much money as I'd always have the money invested. Because by the way, money in the bank is like making you 0% ROI. Money invested is making it, even if you think it's going to do well, like, no, I wouldn't do it that way. I understand what you're saying. It's going to go through. You hunt products with 30% ROI. Sometimes. I think in the UK it did really well. Like 2 weeks ago, we did 40% ROI average. USA generally have over 30. In the UK, the minimum's 20% ROI. So we will go a lot lower. And I think right now, I talked about earlier, I think we're tracking about 18% ROI gross profit sales. So it kind of gives you an idea like why we're sourcing, sales drop down. So that's what we think. SL, what is your new service you launched again? Is it the Seller Group? How much is it? So if you're interested, it's the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy, and I think we're about to close it. Literally today is the last day you can book a call on it. The price does change depending on if you bought any previous service with us. It's not cheap, it's our premium offer. And the reason why I say that is we offer like leads, we offer USS, we offer the Academy, which is great. But the one thing that everyone is asking, I mean, they're asking it all the time, they're like, hey, Tom, can I work with you? Can I work with your team closer? Obviously, we've got 2 7-figure Amazon businesses. We've gone through a lot. Like we know a lot what's going on. Like really a lot what's happening. We build really good processes to scale businesses in 2 marketplaces, and people want to work with that. Whereas you can get the same service as us, but you can't work with us. Whereas in the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy, is your ability to work closely with myself and my team. And to be really crystal clear, what does that mean? Well, it means that every single week we run 4 support calls. 4, get it right, Tom. So we do one, which is a sourcing team. So if you've got problems with sourcing, want to know what's going on, you literally get a call group call where you can chat to my sources. I love that. Number two, you can talk to my admin teams. You've got IP complaints, inventory management, P&L problems, cash flow problems. Talk to my admin team. They will help you out. UK and US, they're in that call. Number three, if you've got purchasing, cancelled orders, like how do I manage to structure my teams? What do I do? How do I get them to we do this? You can talk to my purchasing team. Again, my purchasing managers are in there, not just like some purchaser, like actual people running the whole businesses. And then finally, you've got the business mastery, which is me and my real ops manager. They're the people who are running multiple businesses. We talk about framework, structures, accountability, what we're doing like financing wise, how we manage risk, strategy, and how we scale. We share all of that information. We give you our exact framework, and it's really the framework that allows me to run on 2 hours a week within the Seller Academy. And you can see it, by the way, fasttrackfba.com Seller Academy. If anyone's watching it on the replay, you can still access it. But after today, I think we'll shut access applications to like apply to work with us, because we're only trying to limit what the number of people we're bringing in. And the concept comes is that it's really just an area where I can just get some really serious sellers close. We can have a lot of weekly support calls. And by the way, if you want an hour with me, it's £500, $600 for an hour. That's how much I charge for coaching, but that really helps out. So, and then also as well, we talk about what we're doing in regards to like structures, how we're changing it all. You know, if I give a really good analogy, and something we talked about is, I told everyone in the Seller Academy last week how we did it. We went from 30,000 spend one week to 50,000 the next week. No more VAs, nothing else. We just changed some things in our business, and it's just like, wow, it's really interesting. So we're talking about all these top tips and tricks, which are really supporting growing the business and how we're approaching it. So it does help out, but if you're interested, you can look at fasttrackfba.com. You can look at this. There'll be a link to Seller Academy on the menu bar. But it's only for really people who want to really grow their businesses, probably with teams. And I don't want to kind of like say like I'm looking for everyone. No, not at all. But it's got to be that you're like really taking this business seriously over the next kind of like couple of months, a year, and we really want to build 7-figure businesses for people and help them, also have a great quality of life as well. So hope that makes sense. Abdul King, do you know the annual income needed for an Amex card? No, I don't. I'm guessing 40,000 top of my head. I won't. Yeah, I think they just asked you to put it in, so you can just put in 40,000. Obviously, make sure you tell the truth. Let's do the next one. My account got deactivated and they wanted me to prove authenticity for your products if I was doing mostly FBM and buying retail arbitrage, running stores, and secrets around action at the time. Yeah, it does happen. Fasttrackfba.com/Jeff, or you can do fasttrackfba.com/tools. Jeff's the guy we use to help us with all those. I won't lie, we probably get product authenticity complaints once or twice a week per marketplace, and we get them all cleared down, all of them. So yeah, really happy with that. Let's go through. How are you focusing on achieving higher ROIs now? Are you simply raising the price and waiting to sell, therefore less obsessed perhaps with the buy box? Is more about sourcing higher ROI initially and rejecting deals? Blah, blah, blah. We've got some cool things we're sharing in the Seller Academy. We do talk about it, like what we're doing, but at a very fundamental level, we're working heavily with our sources to improve it. We've got some good ways we're doing that. And actually we're seeing great results. UK, we went from, I think it was like a 22% ROI. My team averaged 42% like 2 weeks ago. I don't know what they did last week, I haven't checked, but it's like incredible. Then the other one is, so 42%, then the other one is to say, we are working with our repricer, and we have a full-time repricing analyst right now. We're tweaking the rules. We've got some really good concepts and ideas that we're testing out at the moment, which really help achieve that. And we understand how the metrics we do it. And again, we talk about in the Seller Academy, but I don't really want to kind of share that with everyone, because I appreciate the people are paying for that when they're in that Seller Academy, and they're getting that information, which is helping them to improve their ROIs, and we are seeing the results of that. So it's really good. But yeah, long story short, focus on your sources and then back end focus on your repricing. That's where you need to look. I've built twice, no lot. Can you get more information generally in the store? Yeah, speak to Jeff. Jeff's the man to speak to. Right, I've got 10 minutes, guys. If you've got any more final questions, let me know. Bailey's Ventures, thanks. That's what I thought. What did you ask, Bailey? Yeah, I just invest it all, spend it all. That's it. Obviously, use our cash flow sheet. That's a really important point. Like, yes, spend all the money, but just make sure you can still pay your bills. Our cash flow sheet does that. That's the important point. Let's go through loving it. A product that sells 90 units per month with few sellers. How many units would you consider to buy for Q4? My God, I could be here forever. A really rough rule of thumb. Let's say, for example, there's 8 sellers on the listing right now, rough and around the buy box. I would, what would I do? I would basically say number of sellers right now on or around the buy box plus 1, which is going to be me, so that makes 9 instead of 90 units per month. So I'm like, okay, cool. So that makes I'm probably gonna make 10 sales per month. I would then look at like, where's it going? Do I think it's gonna increase in sales or decrease? So if it's going to increase, I might kind of up it and make it 15, 20, I might want to buy for 1 month. And then the other one I'd look at is like knowing that it's going to sell like each seller is going to sell 10 to 20 units per month. I'd look at their stock count and say, how much stock have they got? And if they've all got like 40, 50, then I'd probably say fine. If they've all got ones and twos, then I'd probably buy a bit more because they're going to sell out quick. So my calculation's a bit off. So that's what I'd really be looking at. So that'd be the way I'd do it. And then at the fundamental level, that'd be like how many I buy. So yeah, simple. But again, you're just testing. Like, it's up to you. And then also, then once I understand that, I'd say, okay, so if I'm going to buy like 30 units, for example, how much of that is a percentage of my cash available? So if that means all of my cash is going to be tied up in that one product, I probably wouldn't do that. I don't think you probably should spend any more than like 10% of your cash in any one product, because you're just risking too much. Once if Amazon says, sorry, that listing can no longer be sold, you've got a big problem. So 10% max, ideally 5 if you get a bit bigger. Let's go through. Any tips for increasing my buy box percentage? Matching other sellers to some SKUs. I'm getting 0% 3 bucks ensuring. You're just going to have to manually do it. Like, find a SKU where you're 0 to 3%, jump in and start tweaking it. Like, tweak. It takes time. This is why we've hired someone full time to do it for us, because like we need to know those answers. So you just got to tweak it and figure it out. That's the thing I'll say. So yeah, get in there, start changing around. That's going to be very, very important. How much income history do I need to prove? I haven't been doing FBA that long. Well, I don't know. Speak to Amex. I'm not Amex. I don't know the answer. I'm guessing you're speaking about Amex. Yeah. But I'd like to start collecting points. Yeah, cool. Amex, Capital on tap. You can definitely do them as well. Right, guys. I think I'm probably just going to leave it there. If you've got any more questions, do drop them in quick. Do drop them in quickly. I'm going to probably leave it there. For me, I've got a lot to crack on with my business. Like, I won't lie. I've got quite a lot of updates to make to the Seller Academy. I want to support those guys. We've released some stuff, and I've seen some actually better ways we can do it based on some feedback. And then what I do want to say is also thank you for you guys for joining. Like, honestly, Q4 is here. You should be buying big right now. You're not going to see the sales. Let's be clear. Sales aren't happening yet. The purge, as in like you won't be making sales, but when you're buying, buy now. Now is the time to buy, because it's going to be in for about mid-November. That's when the sales start happening. That's what you're really looking for. So get spending big. That's going to be an important point. And obviously what we want to do is obviously make sure you have a great Q4. So I'm going to love you and leave you. And what I will do, we've got one more question come in. I hope a new phase of the same begins. I hope to lose seeing what profit left sale, what ratio of profit is experienced ideally. I'm not really, what ratio of profit in your experience is really £200 left after 1,000? We do about 10%, like 10%. In the US, 5% in the UK. So like if I make $1,000 and £1,000 in sales in the UK, I make £50 in profit. Like, it's not huge. I think you can make more. But I hope that makes sense. Oh, I love it. Someone said 3 girls in your city. Ooh, thanks, spammy Paz S35.fun. You are hilarious. Right, and obviously we'll get you blocked later on. Final one, Facebook. What content experience did you look for in hiring your repricing analyst? Interest in this? I will make a whole lot of videos. Like, I'll make a whole lot of videos. Like, it's hard, but we're still figuring it out. I just need to make sure we're doing it right first. And the reason is we run 2 companies, 7 figures, and I think having someone to focus on that is going to be really important. So yeah, I'll make a lot of videos. I'll share it in the Seller Academy and the group calls. But really, we want good analytical abilities. We did some really cool stuff around DISC assessments with them. We're looking for the right kind of person. So we'll see. I'll share, but like, I don't want to do too much. Just very analytical. That's it. Very methodical, analytical. That's what we're looking at. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a real pleasure. I will see you same time next week up here, that time. And obviously stay safe, keep smashing in Q4. Bye. Stay safe. Bye.